You, all right.
What type of dudes do you like? I wasn't the.
I just feel like 9 to 5s, like, I appreciate it and all, but it's just like the money too slow. Like, I've been needing money like every day. Like, I want to go shopping. I want to buy a new car. Like, whatever I feel like doing, I want to do. Like, I don't want to wait for you to get your paycheck. Like, you know what I mean? Because then you might have to save. You might have to do that. But, like, if you sell drugs or if you scam or whatever, like, you just going to have it. You know?
I mean, but not everybody is in that type of lifestyle. You know what I mean?
But you can be if you want to.
Not me. I went to school years. So, that's not me. You know what I mean? But, I mean, if I'm not your type, I mean, I understand.
I
mean, do you know how much doctors make a year? I'll just look it up on your phone real quick. No, like, literally look it up.
I mean, I know y'all make money.
No, I want you to look it up.
Do you know how much scammers make a day?
I mean, I'm not interested in that.
They can make what you make a year in a month.
Really? So that's your type?
I mean, yeah.
What type of dudes do you like?
I just feel like 9 to 5s, like, I appreciate it and all, but it's just like the money too slow. Like, like every day. Like, I want to go shopping. I want to.
What type of dudes do you like?
Mocha, what's up, Mocha? How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for bringing me up. It doesn't seem like the women in your comments fit this narrative too much. They seem pretty balanced. To answer your question, you asked, why would I prefer a 9 to 5 over a street dude? And for me, I think 9 to 5 is just the example that you're using for a guy who has a legitimate, stable income and average job, right?
Right.
For me, I'm from Detroit, so I grew up with girls like running after street dudes, and I saw like some of the worst consequences of that. Like when dudes want to get at the dude in the street, the girls getting caught in the crossfire, getting shot up, getting kidnapped, being murdered and put in trunks of cars. So that's one reason. Another reason, like you mentioned, we're getting older, and I think a lot of the failures in our community is that we can be really short-sighted. So we have like this hustle or quick money, or money right now, bulk money right now, ideology, which is really detrimental when you look at the greater trajectory of our lives. As you mentioned, there are certain things that street dudes just really don't think about, or people who have that hustle or scam mentality don't think about, like life insurance and, pension, so at the end of the day, if you keep saying good morning, you're going to get older. You're going to need to tap into those resources. And those are just some of the benefits that you get from having a legitimate job. For myself, the reason I wouldn't trip too much about, a dude, if I met a dude who was truly high value in his integrity and in his character, and he was a genuine individual, and he was reliable and went to work consistently, I wouldn't trip too much about him making $50,000. But, I have the luxury of, I want to necessarily say, I'm not trying to flex, but, I bring in a significant amount of money. So, if we were moving together as a unit, his 50 would just make us, take us to that next level, 50 plus more, right? So I think a value of a man is not limited to material things, right? There are so many more things that a man can bring that is valuable, that is beyond, money. And so, like I said, if he is, if he's high value in terms of some important virtues or core values, then to me, that is more valuable than money.
Mocha,
I'm here.
Are you the woman that said? Are you the woman that said you're a Johns Hopkins graduate? Was that you?
Not at all.
Okay. Hey Bree.
Oh, were you on another live?
Bree, go to sleep. It's your bedtime. Go to sleep. Yeah.
No, that wasn't me. I'm not a Johns Hopkins graduate.
Okay. Yeah. Basically Black Jesus. That's my business partner. So I saw. I think it was this morning. I saw him on a live. I don't remember if it was yesterday. But
I think it was yesterday with that young lady from DC. She sounded really sweet. She's a teacher and she graduated from Johns Hopkins.
Okay. But yeah. You're telling me that as a 6-figure earner yourself, that you would seriously entertain dating a man that makes $50K a year.
Especially now, let's not limit it to just 50K a year, but especially if he was a gentleman, because it wasn't just 50K a year. There were other things that I mentioned in terms of his core values. To me, that's more important. Having a man of integrity, right? Having a man that, like, we are on the same page is more valuable than money. You know, I'm not throwing this out here to be to flex, but I'm just saying, if I make 220,000, right? That's more than some households make with multiple people in it. Money is not the issue. We're good, right? So even if he makes 50,000, then together we at what? 270,000 for a two-family household. That's more than enough. Money is not the issue. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that for everybody, but it gets to a point, like, even now, like, I don't even pick up extra shifts or work overtime because I have more than I need, right? Like, so I'm not I don't need nobody to make what I make to be good. I'm good. I have insurance. If something happens to me, my house is paid for. I mean, I can actually find other things that I value out of a man than money. I don't know why you don't agree with that. Well, I don't I don't know what's wrong with that. Like,
Morgan, I'll rock with you, but you gotta stop, yo. We need to be real. We need to acknowledge that somebody said,
so
yeah,
you tell me
exactly,
what
exactly.
is wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Cause we need to acknowledge that most, because it's never all, right? Everyone's not a monolith, but we need to acknowledge that most women, they want to, like, they date across and up. So they want to date a man that they feel is at the very least on their level, but they prefer dating a man that they see on a level higher than them, especially socioeconomically. So most women is not even trying to entertain a man that make 10 bands less than them, let alone 150 to 175 bands less than them. Like, let's be real. Most women that even try to entertain situations like that, it's either two things that happen. One is they want to be a man and they got like this little power struggle thing going on, and they do want to be the breadwinner. They do want to, like, have authority over a man. We can acknowledge that those women exist. Or secondly, it doesn't end up lasting because they end up realizing that that's really not their place to be. Like, most women do not want to be largely responsible for the financial responsibility in their relationship. Like, that's just not a woman's natural place to be in. So when she gets in that position, it doesn't last a long time because she's not gonna respect that man. She's only gonna respect that man for so long. So, like I said, I respect you, I rock with you, Moga, but we know damn well that you're not gonna date a man that's making $1,000 a week. You're not dating a
We
man.
don't, if you're using the generalizations for the majority of the women, I can give you that. But if you're speaking in terms of me and how I operate and what I think, you cannot apply that to me because I don't subscribe to that. I don't value material things over people. And for my experiences with truly valuable black men, I feel like a man that is working a steady job, that is reliable, that is dependable, if he is bringing in, and 50K is just a number that we're putting out there, right?
But the average black man is 42K.
Okay, but we use the exact. I'm going off of the example that you
Sure.
used, right?
Yeah,
So you did $1,000 a week. That's 52K a year. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Just off of that, right? If I apply that to myself, and as I mentioned, if I make 220,000 and that 50K, because here's another thing too. Like, if I'm with somebody and we're married, I don't look at here's my money, here's your money. Here's the thing. I was lucky enough to have somebody introduce me to a profession that has been very lucrative for me. It is nothing that I did super special other than go to school and stick to the script, right? That opportunity hasn't, like, I personally understand the plight of a black man in America. So, we're all finding our ways. If it wasn't for me having a mentor, I wouldn't be in this position, right? This is not something that just made, like, I'm nothing special in terms of the route that I chose to get here, right? So if another man, do you know that there are PhD scientists, virologists, right? That the scientists, the people who do the research to understand like the viruses and that work for the CDC, these people make 60,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a legitimate career and profession. So I wouldn't discredit a man who has, because here's the thing, a man who, like I said, if he consistently goes to work, he's reliable, he's dependable. These are values and characteristics that are important for a family. You cannot limit those things to solely money. Like, I understand that that's what the most of what people do, but I think that's a huge breakdown and failure in our community, because here's the thing. Let me tell you what I do see. I do see my peers and my coworkers who are currently non-black, they're white and Filipino. There are periods in their marriage where they solely support their husband. I have one white coworker who she's the only one providing. She's the only one working while her husband is in school. Now, when she was in school, he was the only one providing and the only one working. But in order to have a successful family and union, you have to have that type of commitment. Nobody in their family, from my conversations with them, are talking about, well, I don't want to support him because he could leave me after he get on, or I don't want to do that for her because she can leave me, because they have commitment to the family, commitment to the union, commitment to their goals together. Right. And I think if we continue to look at stuff with back doors or selfishly in terms of, I'm just trying to protect myself because anything could happen, and you're not all invested into the family, you're not all invested into the foundation, the union, then you open yourself up for failure. But if you're going to love somebody and love them genuinely, we got to stop putting things over people. Right. There is nothing wrong with a woman who makes over 150,000, 220,000. If you meet a man who makes 50 or 60,000, then I would never say I got 200,000, he got 50,000. No, we have 250 to 270,000. It's ours together. There is no power structure, but it depends on the mindset of the people in the situation.
I understand what you're saying, Mocha, but like, you're just an anomaly in 2023. You're just a unicorn because listen, I say all the time, like on my main page,
I don't think
I
that
say
I
all
am though.
I say all the time that like nowadays, like a man's character, a man's personality, that is at the bottom of the totem pole for these women. These women want to know, like, and nowadays, like when people ask like what you do for a living, like they're not asking to genuinely know what you do for a living. They're asking because they want to size you up. They want to go on their Google, or if they know anything about whatever it is that you do, they want to ask you that to kind of like size you up and estimate exactly, estimate about the range of money that you make annually. And yeah, they want to know how much money you make, and they want to know how much money you have before they even think about entertaining you. And if they're satisfied with that, if they're okay with that, then they'll go ahead and entertain you and give you the time of day. But you know at this while a man's character and personality should be first. If a woman wants to be married one day, if she wants to have a family, if she wants to live a certain lifestyle and to be able to provide a certain lifestyle for her family, like it'll be disingenuous for her to not consider how much money a man makes. If she wants this provider man that all you black women say you want, this provider, this leader, this protector, it'll be disingenuous for her to say that she's just gonna disregard how much money a man makes. Like, if most people, they want to live in a decent neighborhood. Most people, they want their children to go to the best schools that they can go to. Most people, they want to be able to take a family vacation once or twice a year. They want to be able to they want to have, ancillary income. They want to have disposable income to do different things. So like even a single person to say money doesn't matter in America, in this capitalist society that we live in, money 100% matters, and it does need to be considered. It does need to be taken into consideration. And like I said, you personally, you might not have a problem, dating a man that you make. Okay, this, let me ask you this, because every love don't pay the bills. Love does not pay the bills at
My
all.
bills are already paid, because here's the reality, right? I'm recently entering into like the dating pool again, right? My mortgage alone, right, is $31.30 a month. Okay. If I meet a man and we get married and he makes 70,000, the kind of house that he can afford. Now, I'm not saying I would totally object to this, but and let's say I really like him, he checks off everything. He just don't make as much as I make, right? That means I would have to downsize my house, like, you know what I mean?
I've
To
had this conversation. I can ask you the same. Like I know a girl. I know a girl right now that she makes six figures and like she's like a year older than me, and she can't say
Hold on
no
one
respect.
second. Can I just address this really quickly?
Go ahead.
How can you assert, you cannot assert that I won't respect a man if I have already said that a man's value is not exclusive to his materialism. And I'm not talking to you, I'm responding
I
to
know,
a
I know.
comment. And I don't believe, number one, that a man's provision and protection is solely exclusive to money. So you can't, I just said I respect a man who is working, who is consistent, who has what I respect in a man is a man being a man and being honest above all. A man who has character, who does what's right, even if nobody else knows what he's doing right. That's what I respect. So you can't tell me that I'm not going to respect a man because he makes 50 to 70,000. I don't care about that.
Okay, Mocha. Even though you don't care
I've
about
already
that,
been in this situation. I'm sorry, I'm gonna start responding to the comments.
okay, even though, even though you say that you don't care about that, can you acknowledge that majority of women are not like you? Can you acknowledge that?
I absolutely will acknowledge that. And here's the thing, though I may not agree with all the instances, I still can understand why some women would care about it, especially like you said, if these are women who may not, this is what they look for, in terms of they may need a man to fully be in that role, in that position. Like, I'm not knocking people who feel like that. And I will acknowledge that there are some, women who only want the man to carry everything and they only want men for money. I'm not denying that exists, but even from some of the comments that I saw in your comment section, I believe that there are a lot of women who actually agree with me. They may not be there were a lot of women who were saying it. There were a lot of women before you even brought me up who were saying it, that they could make it work, because here's the reality with inflation and just the cost of living. We, for the most part, we need two earning income households, right? So, if a woman is making 60,000 and a man is making 50,000, and together, if they, move as a unit together, they have 110,000, right? So what's wrong with that? And then my question also would be, for some of the women who are having these expectations, not trying to sound misogynist, but I don't want to ask what are you bringing, because I hate that question. But you know what I mean? Like, what is the trade off, right? Like, because there are, women who really just be for themselves, like who use men as like accessories, like, oh, just to say I have a husband. You know what I mean? Like, treat men like purses. Like, that's not healthy, and that's futile.
But Mocha, it's not about like you said, it's not about whether a woman needs a man for money and for not. And listen, I say this all the time. Like I said, nowadays women do not respect the average man. Women don't even respect the man that's on the same socioeconomic status as them. The example that I use is, look, it's about to be 11 o'clock where I'm at. There is a woman that's she's about to work from 11 to 8 at Target or Walmart tonight, stocking the shelves. She makes 30 bands a year. She doesn't want to date the man that's working across the city, also about to work the same shift, making the same amount of money as her. Despite the fact that she worked at Walmart stocking the shelves at nighttime and make 30 bands a year, she want the guy that worked in corporate finance. Like, she want the like first or second year attorney. She wants the engineer. She wants the physician. She wants the surgeon. That's what's like really going on out here. So it's not a matter of, okay, you make 200 some $1,000 a year. It's not that like you need a man to help you pay your rent or your mortgage or whatever. It's just the fact that most women don't feel comfortable being in that position. They know naturally you're not supposed to be in that position. He who findeth a wife findeth a good thing. The Bible talks, and I'm not trying to get all religious and everybody believes
Oh,
in.
let's get into it because that's my
Okay,
foundation.
the Bible doesn't talk about the woman being a provider for the man. The Bible talks about the man being the provider for the woman and his family. It says the man that like doesn't take care of his family is like worse than whatever. I don't remember exactly what the verse says, but you
Because
know
he
what I'm
who
talking about.
findeth a wife findeth a good thing is that has nothing to do with money.
Oh, okay, but what I'm saying is there is a verse that says the man that does not take care of his family is worse than. Let me see exactly what it says. Let me see exactly what it. Matter of fact,
So you
let me
don't
play.
think
Let
that
me.
a man that goes to work regularly and provides like health insurance and dental insurance and pension and all of that, that's not providing for his family?
Hold on, Mocha. Mute up. Please mute up 1 second. Let me just play the audio
Okay.
one more time, and then we can get back to it.
What type of dude do you like? I wasn't the.
I just feel like 9 to 5s, like I appreciate it and all, but it's just like the money too slow. Like, I've been needing money like every day. Like, I want to go shopping. I want to buy a new car. Like, whatever I feel like doing, I want to do. Like, I don't want to wait for you to get your paycheck. Like, you know what I mean? Because then you might have to save. You might have to do that. But, like, if you sell drugs or if you scam or whatever, like, you just going to have it. You know?
I mean, but not everybody is in that type of lifestyle. You know what I mean?
But you can be if you want to.
Not me. I went to school years, so that's not me. You know what I mean? But I mean, if I'm not your type, I mean, I understand.
I mean,
Do you know how much doctors make a year? I'll just look it up on your phone real quick. No, like literally look it up.
I know y'all make money.
No, I want you to look it up.
Do you know how much scammers make a day?
I mean, I'm not interested.
They can make what you make a year in a month.
Really? So that's your type?
I mean, yeah.
So, Mocha, listen. Having health insurance, having dental insurance, having life insurance, having disability, all of that is important. All I'm telling you is that nowadays, if a man has those things, but he's only making 50K a year, the woman that's making 50K, the woman that's making 30K don't want that. And the woman that's making 100K, 9 out of 10 of them are damn sure not going to want that. So listen, I understand, Mocha, if you would date a man that makes 150, 175K less than you. But all I'm trying to get you to acknowledge is that you are an anomaly. Like you don't represent the majority of women, right?
I kind of feel like I agree with you, but I just feel like here's the thing. I agree with you, but I do believe that I don't think there's nothing special about me in that aspect. I do believe that there are more women who are more in the line like with what I'm saying than you think. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't have to be to the extreme, right? But I do believe that there are more women who are looking to have a healthy interdependent relationship with a man who has values in other places.
Mocha, do you want to have kids one day?
Yes. But see, you don't want to use me as an example for where you're going because again, I make more than what two income households bring in as an individual, right? So like I'm not going to be a good example.
This verse says, what does it say? It says, it basically says, he who does not provide for his family, um, especially for those of his own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. We both know about the faith without work. With faith without works is dead, and this, that, and the third. Like Mocha, I'm going to
But a man,
respectfully
so are
disagree.
you
I don't
asserting
think
that a man who makes $52,000, who has a steady job, reliable income, who provides health insurance, is not providing for his family?
I am not saying that he is providing for his family, but just because he makes 52,000 or $50,000 a year and he has those things, that doesn't mean and that's good or whatever. That doesn't mean that that's what most women are interested in. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day if most women are if that's not what they want, if that's not what they desire, if that's not what they're interested in, whether they're justified in having that perspective or not. And I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I don't think that there's a lot of women that have the mindset that you have. Like I really do believe, and I'm gonna stand on it, that even if they try it out, it's not gonna work long term because as women, you are not naturally supposed to be in that position, and most women do not feel comfortable being in that position.
Do you think that
You
a
don't want to
woman
be a
who is a
provider
high,
for a man. You don't want
wait,
to be a
can I
provider
ask
for a man.
something?
Go ahead.
Do you think that a woman who is a high earner lacks the capacity to I because I'm going to use this word, but please don't take it further than what I'm saying. When I mention submit, I mean cooperate. I mean be in agreement with. I mean there is no power struggle. Do you feel like a woman who is a higher earner will lack the capacity to submit to her spouse because she's a higher earner?
If she's a significantly higher earner than her man, absolutely, without
Hmm.
question. If
I
you're
disagree.
making like most like whether you want to acknowledge this, most women don't even want to entertain a man that's making 10 bands less than them. But we want to talk about 50, 100, 150, 175. Like you guys don't want to be in the provider position. Like you're not about to be living in a high rise in the city, you know, you're not about to be living in a high rise in the city with the view of the city, and then this guy's living in a studio apartment somewhere, and to be with him, now you got to downsize like where you live. Like most women is not gonna downgrade their lifestyle because of a man.
I agree with that. But can I also present something for the sake of conversation that I don't think that we are taking into account in terms of men who manage their money very well, in terms of men who, and by doing so, so you may have a man that, well, I don't want to do that because that technically would be moving the goalpost, because then you'd be talking about a man who started off at 52,000 who makes more money because he can manage his money well. So he has different investments and things like that. So I won't go there. We'll keep it limited to the men who only make 52,000. And I would have to say, I respectfully agree to disagree. I'm not disregarding what you're saying. I know that there are women who absolutely by no terms will do that. But in terms of what I know and what I've seen, I can't speak for myself, though I have been married, and it was a situation similar to that. And like, I know my personal anecdotal experience, but I also know, I will acknowledge, as you mentioned, that it is the exception. So I'm not even going to use that. That's irrelevant. But I will say, for even as I mentioned earlier, my coworkers, where I have a coworker who is the sole provider for her household while her husband is in school. Like, there are women that are doing this. You know what I'm saying? And they're not disrespecting their husbands. They are still, cooperating fully and respecting their husbands for the role that they play in their lives. And before I drop down, because I don't want to just continue to just keep going on,
You're
is
fine.
it okay if can I read this really quickly? And the
Yeah,
reason that
go
I want
ahead.
to read this, because we mentioned the Bible, and just from a biblical perspective of what, for me, this is a reflection of a woman that, quote unquote, brings something to the table. A wife of noble character who can find. She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food from her family and portions for her female servants. That she has female servants, right? She considers a field and buys it. She has real estate. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Is a hardworking woman. She has real estate and she has people that works for her. Her arms are strong for her task. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hands, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and she extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. So her family has materials, high quality materials. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate. Her husband has not lost respect. He is respected. She adds value to him. And where he takes his seat among the elders of the land, and that means he's revered amongst other people. She makes linen guard. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Y'all get the gist of it. It's okay for women to have materials. To say that a woman should not be a high earner, that is not a place for a woman, that's not biblically sound.
I
Now
never
here we
said
have not
smoker.
asserted. You just said that that's
No,
you asserted that making more than your husband
no,
is not.
I said it's not in your place to be a provider for a man. That's what I said.
And a man that's working, that's bringing in 52,000 is not lacking in provision. He's still providing.
Okay, but like I said, not because he can still be considered a provider, but how many women are going to want to date a man that they are making significantly more money than? So when I said it's not naturally in a woman's place to be a provider. It is not naturally in her place to be a provider. Like most, like again, you might be cool. You might be cool dating a man that makes $150,000, $100,000 less than you, but that's not the case for most women. So like you can't try to make it seem like you be an exception. Like you are an exception.
Okay,
most
sir.
most most women most women are not going to want to be having to. Okay, so if you don't downgrade your lifestyle and you have a man move in and you have a man, how many women want a man to move in with? Do most women want a man to move in with them, or is it more so common that a woman will move in with a man or they would get a place together?
We would get a place together, and a man who makes $52,000 would definitely be able to. We could get a house together. We could both go on a loan and get a house together. He can put a significant down payment down. Yes, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think we should devalue hard working, consistent men, and also the benefits of some of these jobs. Some of these jobs will have relationships with banks that will give them like priorities and loans and special loan agreements and stuff. Some jobs, because these are benefits that even a high earning woman will benefit from. There are some employers who have down payment assistance if you're buying a house. So if his job offers $10,000 down payment assistance, that's less money out of our household. Like, there are other benefits. If I meet a man who has a good job, if he's making 56,000 and I can let go of my health insurance with my employer that pays more, then that's an increase in our household income by 20%. I don't think that it's fair to discredit. I think if we're going to consider just the money, you have to also consider the monetary value of benefits of a man who works consistently, with good steady income with a job.
So
He
so
may have an additional $20,000 in benefits. I mean, if you think about, if I'm on his health insurance and we don't have to pay for that, that might be an additional $20,000 a year that he's bringing. That's not, it may not be in fiat, but it's still valuable.
so are you so if you could qualify for a $700,000 house and this man could qualify for a $200,000 house, if you like him enough, despite the fact that you can qualify for a $700,000 house, you'll entertain the possibility of getting a $200,000 house to be with the man.
So now we would have to go back to the consideration when I said people have to move as a unit. So that means together we would qualify for a house that was worth 900,000, right? If I could qualify for 700 and he can qualify for 200, that don't mean we have to, but that's what I mean. If you're not thinking with unity in mind and you're that advanced in a relationship that you're going to purchase a house together with somebody, then that is the core of the problem. There is no longer what he qualifies for, what I qualify for. As a household, this is what we qualify for. So because of that, and honest, would we need a house that expensive? know. We probably could get a $500,000 house.
Okay, so even if you get a $500,000 house, that's still $300,000 above what he qualifies for. So, are you gonna?
Because you're still separating the income. It's not a he and me, it's a we. As I mentioned earlier, if I mean I'm consistent in that. When I mentioned earlier, I make 220,000, he make 50,000, we make 270,000. You understand what I'm saying? We're a unit, we're one. There is
Yes,
no he and I. My money is his money. We work together as a unit. Now, people who don't think like that, who come with trap doors, then the relationship gonna fail because you're selfish. But if we're moving together as a unit, it is us. Me personally, I'm not going to commit my life to a man who I can't trust to manage our finances, that we can't interdependently rely on each other and moving in that direction. We shouldn't even be talking about getting a house at that point. It's not what he can qualify for, what I can qualify for. We gonna get this house together. We have insurance on both of us, and I'm talking about incidental insurance. Let's say I get sick and die, or I get cancer. Our house is paid for. You know what I'm saying? So all of it is not falling on him.
okay, so Mark, I have two last questions. So, are you gonna be interested in, going 50-50 on the mortgage and going 50-50 on the bills, or are you gonna be the one paying majority of the stuff?
I think that, well, you asked me for me. I'm going to say this really quickly. I think people need to do what work for their households. For me, I'm going to be realistic, right? Now, if we are combining our incomes, then we have a budget and we are establishing where our money is going. So when you start, like, I don't like, cause I've been married before, that 50-50 conversation is more boyfriend, girlfriend, right? I don't process that in terms of like being a married woman, right? Because it's our money together. So what happens is the money comes into the house. We allocate money for our bills, and then we allocate money for our individual money, like for each other, like an allowance for each other. And then we allocate money for our savings. We allocate money for our investment. What is 50-50 when you're married and moving as a unit? It's all one.
But if one person is making significantly more money than the other, and like, they're, again, you talk about the whole combining the money thing, and you said, okay, I said you could qualify for a $700,000 house, and he can qualify for a $200,000 house, and you say, well, we're gonna get the $500,000 house. That's still significantly above what he individually qualifies for. And that is something that you can more than afford to live in. That is not something that he can even afford to live in. So when it comes to paying the bills, the person that is making significantly more money, they are going to have to shoulder most of the load, correct?
Yeah, but that comes out of the household income. This is what I'm saying. You're still thinking in a separatist view, right? If my direct deposit hits the same bank account as his direct deposit, we have our household bills, right? And so if that works out to be 70-30, 60-40, whatever it is, this is our money. It's not his income versus my income.
Do
It's
you hear
our money.
do you hear most women these days say that, you
I'm
know,
gonna be honest with you. I don't really listen to most women these days. I don't agree with the corruption in the popular culture. My values are different, but that's why I'm only going off of what I saw in your comments, because it seemed like most of the women in your comments, you had a significant number of women in your comments who were reasonable in how they reacted to your question. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't subscribe to the hot girl and all that. I'm more of a lukewarm girl kind of summer. I don't get into all of that. I honestly value people and use materials. It's not the other way around. So I don't mean to come up here and be like, I'm not trying to be like the exception, but I do think that it's more reasonable Black women that are willing to work and cooperate and grow together. I do believe from what I read in your comments before you brought people up, there were women who were, talking about getting with a man and together building something, right? So he may start at the 52,000, but I believe that if he's a hardworking man and he's showing that he can be consistent in working that is a indicator or foreshadows what he may offer in the future. So though he may start at 52,000, he could easily get up to 150,000 with the right collaboration interdependently, with the right woman and support. So I don't know.
right?
I
So
just don't think I don't think that it's as rare as you think, but I would
okay,
say the
Mocha.
dominant voice for women probably would be the opposite.
Okay, so you might be interested in building with a man, but a lot of women are not interested in building with a man these days. A lot of women tell me on here and in real life, in black women specifically, they say we saw what our mothers went through, we saw what our aunties, our grandmothers, all these other women went through. We're not building with a man. He needs to come already at his peak self or damn near his peak self. We not about to wait for you to get to where you're trying to get to, because what happens most of the time is when you do get there, you end up cheating on us. You end up leaving us for a younger woman. You end up dealing with women that look better than us. This is what black women are saying. So again, you are an exception, and there's nothing wrong with you being an exception. And are there other women that are out there that are exceptions as well? Yes, but y'all are not the majority. That's all I'm trying to say. Y'all are not the majority. And if you want to disagree and say that, y'all, that there's a lot more of these women, or it's 50-50, or there's more women that would date a man that makes significantly less more money than them. That's okay. We can agree to respectfully disagree, but
Well,
you are
I
an
won't
exception.
discredit what you're saying. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like, you have these engagements with people and this is what they're expressing to you. So I'll accept what you're saying. But I'm going to be honest, I do feel like that a lot of, I think women are going to miss out on a lot of good men. Like I said, if it wasn't for me having a mentor that introduced me to a lucrative profession, sometimes people just need to be put in the right direction. And I think that if a man is demonstrating certain values and great characteristics and ambition, and I'm not talking about dating a man for his potential. I'm just saying, like, somebody saw something in me and they put me on, you know what I'm saying? So who's to say that if somebody else just don't need that opportunity? So I don't know. I don't necessarily disagree with you, right? I know that there are women out there. My only thing that I'm saying is I think that there's more women who are more, in line with what I was saying. But
How old are you, Mocha, if you don't mind me asking?
35, I don't mind you asking.
Okay. So I'm 26. Like, when you were my age, did you have the same mindset? Do you think a lot of modern day women in their
Yeah,
mid
I mean, I got
have the
married at
mindset as
21. Yeah, I got married at 21. And so here's the thing, even in the women in my circle, like my best friend, same age, been, she's married, she's still married, same idea, same concept. And her husband didn't make as much as she made when they got married. But now 10 years later in their marriage, and they own 15 properties in the city, right? And actually, oh, I hope she don't see this, but she actually wound up giving him 10 grand to put down to buy one of the houses. You know what I'm saying? So it depends. It really depends. And look at them now. She don't even have to work. But when she entered that marriage, she was working full time and going to school, right? And then she went into her savings 10 grand for a man who wasn't making more than her at that time. And now look, she done collaboratively, they work together interdependently on each other, and now she don't even have to work.
okay, Mocha, but
So I feel like these women will suffer for having that perspective. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I'll be quiet.
no, you're fine. Yes, but again, do you think most modern day women, especially women that are in their early and mid 20s, do you think they have the same mindset as you? From the if
I've
you
said
I don't
no,
know if
and
you
I
I don't
said
know if you
I feel like
I
they
don't
will
know if
suffer
you
for
mentor
that.
women that are in their mid 20s or early 20s. I don't know if you hear, you're on social media. I don't know if you see how they talk on social media. Is your mindset, is your mentality, is that very common in a lot of women in their mid 20s, or is that, if a woman has that mindset in her mid 20s, is she gonna be like a unicorn? Be 100% honest.
I think she's an anomaly. I
Okay,
would say that she's an anomaly.
okay,
Damn, I'm sorry.
simple.
I
But
done got on your nerves. I'm gonna drop
appreciate
down.
you. I appreciate you coming up here, Mocha. You can stay up here if you want to, but I do want to give this other lady, and I
Yeah, I'm gonna
want to
let you
see.
rotate through.
No, you can stay up here. I want to see what this other lady, where she stands on this, and see if there's any similarity. I